The building has since undergone extensive renovations, but in 1995, the people managing the State Theater in Portland had to assure people their venue was safe. A piece of the ceiling had come down during a Mel Torme show, but city building inspectors came in and checked out the damage. They said they'd be okay for next day's show with American rock legend Stephen Stills, who, by the way, is marking his 80th birthday today. Stephen Stills is best known for his work in Buffalo Springfield, of course, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young.
Stills has been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He was actually the first person to be inducted twice in one night. And he has recorded prolifically, appearing on dozens of albums. But through the decades, he regularly returned to bandmates David Crosby and Graham Nash. Kathleen Shannon caught up with them in the summer of 2004 when they had a show in Portland.
And you guys are running for presidency. Tell me about the joint presidency. And Stephen, will you be the vice president?
No, Stephen's going to be the Secretary of State.
We have vice covered.
Yeah, we have vice covered.
Yeah.
Stephen's going to be the Secretary of State so that he can be diplomatic.
I'm going to be the president on Monday and Wednesdays and Fridays, and
I get
Crosby's
Tuesday,
got
Thursday, and Sunday.
He has to work weekends.
Yeah.
And you have to cover the rest of the world. The diplomatic relations.
I'll run the coup d'etat.
It helps to split up the job every other day. Stephen Stills sings and plays guitar on stage, but if you look at the credits for the debut Crosby, Stills, and Nash album, you'll see that he also provided the bass, keyboards, and percussion for every track but one.
Stills also wrote several big hits. Buffalo Springfield's For What It's Worth is an instantly recognizable hit from the 60s, and Love the One You're With became his biggest solo hit. Rob Caldwell got to speak with Stephen Stills in 2007 about his writing process.
You got to fly down in the canyons, you never see the sun. There's no such thing as an easy run. I'm a treetop flyer.
In terms of your writing, what kind of a process have you followed? Do you wait for inspiration to strike?
You have to wait, because if you push it, you'll write dreadful songs. But you have to pick up the guitar and start playing. You know, it's like writing. You have to write for a certain amount in the morning, you know.
But that's what
you'll never get anything done. And so I have to play a little bit. I don't do much on the road, but then we have sound checks, and sometimes stuff will show up at those. But as I've gotten older, it's, you know, the songs are fewer and further between. I guess because as you get older, you're not as sure of yourself.
I read that you are a believer in the old saying, good songwriters borrow, great songwriters steal.
Well, it's a clever quote that I probably stole from someplace and just, you know, spurted it out. I don't know how good it is, but actually, you won't recognize if it's good stealing because you've covered it with your own personality.
I read that you wrote For What It's Worth in about 15 minutes?
Oh, yeah. Sure, that was easy.
There's a man with a gun over there. Got to beware. Think it's time we stop. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going on.
I just saw this confrontation taking place that was so unnecessary. And so that coalesced into a whole, you know, the theme just fell out. It just fell out.
How often does that happen, when the song falls out?
Not as near as much as I'd like. But, you know, I've read about Paul Simon, and he has a process that's really admirable. That's where he has his room where he goes and just picks up the guitar and stand. You got to stand, you know. And Ernest Hemingway wrote standing up too. He had a typewriter on a lectern, and it really is better for you.
Everybody has their tricks. You know, we don't always get the luxury of waiting for inspiration when we have to write.
Sometimes it just has to happen.
Which is why sometimes it is dreadful.
But when it does just flow, you notice the difference.
You do.
It just comes naturally.
You do.
It's not all the time.